Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in EDH. Today we're looking at Cadira, Caller of the Small. So Cadira is a 3-mana Selesnya commander. She's a 3/3 with trample, and she says, whenever Cadira deals combat damage to a player, for each token you control, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. So obviously the plan here is go wide, put as many tokens into play as possible, attack with Cadira and make more and more tokens, and play cards that wind up making our creatures really big so we can overrun our opponents. It's also worth noting here that she creates a token for each token we have, and the token can be any token. It doesn't just have to be a creature token, so food, clues, blood, etc., all of those tokens count. So first off, we've got our beatdown cards like Adeline, Beastmaster Ascension, Caretaker's Talent, and Skyhunter Strike Force, with Adeline probably being the standout here since she makes a whole bunch of tokens herself. Then we've got our card draw. Obviously, we're making lots and lots of little creatures, so cards like Enduring Innocence and Toski are good in the deck. Token increasing effects like Anointed Procession, Mondrak, and Parallel Lives. Concordant Crossroads being here because sometimes we'll create tokens before combat and we want those to be able to attack immediately. It's also good for Cadira to be able to attack immediately as well. Pretty straightforward Selesnya mana base, not much to see here. Protection, because obviously we don't want Cadira or anything else that we have to get countered or killed, so as much stuff as we can get that gives protection, hexproof, shroud, uncounterability, etc. It's also worth noting that Cadira is only a 3/3, so it might be difficult to attack our opponent, so anything that pumps her like Guardian Augmenter is worthwhile. Then we've got all of our ramp. So Jahira here to make it so that our tokens can be tapped for mana. And also, of course, all of our mana dorks benefit from cards like Beastmaster Ascension as well. Aura Mutation to blow up enchantments and make 1/1s, and then Aura Shard, since again we're putting a bunch of cards into play, a bunch of creatures into play, this can just blow up a bunch of stuff. Some stacks effects. Our main plan is beat down, and so we do want to be able to slow our opponents down. And then it's worth noting a number of cards here that just straight up make tokens. So Astrid Peth makes a food when it enters and attacks. So by default, we are going to have at least 2 tokens off of it for the first attack trigger. And then as long as this survives, we're going to keep getting another food token every single time it attacks. Kelon's Journey On mode will create X maps, where X is 1 plus the number of opponents who control an artifact. So presumably, if at least all of our opponents control an artifact, this is going to make somewhere between 1 and 4 map tokens. Pretty good for only 1 mana. Killer Service creates foods equal to the number of opponents you have, so this is 3 mana for 3 tokens. And then we just have a whole bunch of cards that make somewhere between 2 and 3 tokens. So Raise the Alarm, Clowning Around. You know, these are just here. They're not anything special. They're just here to make tokens so that we have got more and more tokens for Cadira. With some of the best ones probably being Hop to It, since it's 3 for 3, and Distract the Guard, since if we hit our opponent, we can just pay 2 to make 3. But even if we don't have that, 3 for 3 is also fine. There were a lot of other cards that I considered for the deck as well, so lots of different things that made tokens or that benefited from making tokens, or the, Scurry Oak combo, since this also makes tokens as well. Ultimately, I decided I didn't want to go in a combo direction. I felt like the deck was more fun just doing straight up beatdown. And a lot of these other cards either got cut because they were less efficient than what we were doing already, or they just weren't good enough in general, or we just had enough of them. But all of these cards that you see here could have potentially been add-ons for this deck as well. And so with all that said, that is going to do it for Cadira in EDH.